What's going on, everybody? Drama22 coming back. I'm going to do a little video here, talk about first 15 plays. The best way, in my opinion, to really have fun with this and make yourself a better gamer and better football enthusiast, fan, whatever you want to call it, is just to understand how offensive coordinators plan their first 15 plays, okay? And what I'm going to do here is look at a little bit of Kyle Shanahan, first game of the year, and then I'll go through each game. I may not do all of this on film with you guys here, but I just want to kind of show you what I would do. It's a very simple process. And really what we're trying to get to is, here's my my play call sheet from last year. This is old terminology. I'm going to update this, but down here you got your first 15. And all I'm going to do is just kind of go through, and I already kind of did some of the work. You can see, you kind of see what Kyle's was he in his bag in this game, right? And if I like it, I like the flow, I'm going to get myself different play calls, some formation ideas. Most offensive coordinators are going to come out, mix up their play calls, but get the ball to their best players as well. They're going to come out in different formation looks to try to get information from the defense to find out how the defense is going to play different formations. You know, are they going to check to a different coverage, etc. So we'll get a chance here to take a look at a little bit of this game. First play of the game, they're kind of backed up. So I'm not sure if this is going to be part of the first 15. Usually there is play calls for being backed up. Okay. So I'm not 100% sure, but I will go back on this in a second and take a look at just the concept. You can see the routes here at the bottom of the screen. And this kind of gives us an idea of, like, when I start talking about what does Kyle Shanahan like to do, right? What is his MO? Well, you can see here, we're going to motion. We're going to be in 21 personnel. We're going to motion the halfback out, Christian McCaffrey, right? And what we're going to end up getting is a sort of kind of levels concept, which happens a lot. A lot of teams run this style of offense in general, but we're going to get somebody running deep and running a dig. All right. We're going to get here. Christian's going to kind of come over here and run a shin route, which is a 5-yard in. Okay. Or fin route, some people call it. And in his offense, he likes to run a hitch out here and not necessarily have this guy work across the field right away. It'd be more like this outside guy would run a hitch, and then he might kind of start to leak over late, which in Madden, you look at the Niners playbook, there are some plays that are like that. Backside of the route concept, I think in this case, if I'm not mistaken, we did get a corner, but we could also turn into a swirl route where he sits down. So he starts the corner and then he comes back. And I'm pretty sure Kyle's supposed to get out here and go to the flat, but he gets knocked on his butt on this play. So, but just wanted to kind of give an idea. And if I had to give this a title or like a name, I'm just going to call it levels concept, right? Actually, I was wrong with the tight end. Tight end ran like a bang post over the middle. So I just wanted to start the game there. 21 personnel. And then just one more thing is that Kyle's obviously going to be looking at the defensive shell, what kind of formations he's in, how's the defense going to react, right? Now, this formation here is big for them. It's pretty much gun deuce, right? And they're using Kyle Juszczyk as like the second tight end. I think that that's something that most defenses are probably just going to assume. He's the mover. He's the guy that moves around. So he's basically no different than like an H-back in an old system or just a second tight end, all right? So this play here, second play of the game, get a little bit of kind of like a cross action with the halfback coming across. It's not really play action. There's a little bit of a token fake. If you watch this route, watch the bottom of the screen, right? You get that smash like concept at the top of the screen. You're going to get kind of like that swirl route that I told you about. So this goes back to just, again, this is not necessarily a film that we're going to study Kyle's offense right now. We'll save that for another time. But in this case, this type of route right here, right, this type of smash combination kind of fits into their whole tree branch category. And then over here, again, corner route that turns into back into like a comeback. It's like a swirl route. If I'm not mistaken, Kyle Juszczyk kind of just did this in the middle. So it kind of becomes this kind of, you know, sometimes this route would be here because it kind of becomes this kind of high-low situation. And a lot of times from what I know, most of the time the reads go 1 to 2, pure progression, it could be 4-3. I could have those switched, and then there'd be a check down over here. So this is the classic combination of kind of like a split field call, one route over here, one route over here. Progression could start either way. Very comfortable system where we're pretty much getting pure progression, right? Reading right to left like a book. Not a lot of pick a side type stuff, which is called PSLs. But that's pretty much what this offense is kind of known for. It's very comfortable for quarterbacks that way, right? But that's second down. Now, again, this is also kind of backed up. So maybe that's not exactly it. But what I did is on my sheet, right, I'm going to write down quickly here, not necessarily the actual play call, but just, right, levels 3x0 was the formation, tree branch, wrap. I just kind of gave it that name. It really wasn't. It was more of a swirl, right? But it was still the same idea, kind of like a high-low, right? 2x2 condensed. Didn't spell that right, but you know what I mean, right? So I'm just kind of putting these notes down so that when I go back into my call sheet for games, I can kind of have, hey, I got two plays to start the game with. Maybe I won't run them the very first two plays, but two different formations kind of giving me a different look, right? All right, so let's move on. This is third down. We're just going to let it go through. I'm not going to talk about third down. This would be a whole separate deal. And, the Niners heading into week 7 here, if I'm not mistaken, is, they are number 2 in passing, which is unique. They've had two different quarterbacks playing pretty much the same way. We'll talk about the overall passing concepts that they're using more. Now, their run game hasn't been as good, and I think some people have said it, but part of the reason why it's not necessarily the offensive line. It's they've had injuries at tight end. They don't have all their blocking receivers, so they're not getting some of that perimeter blocking that they're known for. All right, so we get two backs, right? Good old split formation, gun split. We trade the tight end over, and that's the thing too. Personality-wise, of formations, how 70% somebody's going to motion, right? So this is changing strength, trying to see how that affects the defense. Changing the tight end strength is changing also the passing strength. And we're also going to get like a fast motion here to see how these guys, how do they adjust, right? We're getting a single high look here, but these guys are actually going to rotate to a cover 6. This would be the cover 2 side. This would be the cover 4 side. I don't think that happened because of the motion. I think the defense is kind of doing what it wants. But overall, we are going to get a gun outside zone play here. It just gets kind of hit in the backfield. Poor blocking by Kittle. But overall, we're getting to one of our good runs, right? We know we're going to be, Niners are 40% outside zone in the run game. So when they run the ball, 40% of the time, almost half the time, it's outside zone. It probably leads the league, one of the highest teams that do that. But again, we're getting a look at what maybe the defense is doing as well. So that's what's happening during this time. So second down, we're going to get here 3x1 to 2x2 motion. Okay. Again, why do teams do that? Well, you get to see potentially, do these guys talk on defense, right? So when they came out to start in this bunch formation, looking at it, I look at things from a defensive point of view, obviously, as well. You're going to see some communication here, right? Look at the bottom of the screen. You're going to see the DBs talking, hand signals. Usually that means we're getting into a check, right? So we're testing that. Maybe we can get a tell for what the check is, but we're actually not going to even run a play like that. We're going to now motion to 2x2. Let's see. Now, as soon as the motion happens here, I bet you there are coaches watching in the box. Are these guys going to talk now? They're going to work together to maybe in and out this, right? To combo this, right? To banjo that. Are they going to bring the safety in there, play triangle, right? With these three guys. So that's happening. Are they going to be able to make adjustments quickly? Right now, it looks like Seattle's not making many adjustments. Like they're just kind of, whatever defense they call, they're kind of just playing and just going. But what happens when this motion comes over? Now we got this guy talking to this guy and that guy talking to this guy, and they're making all these checks, right? If they get into a stack alignment, they're probably talking, how are we going to play this? Checking the coverage. So that's why it's done. So when you are playing the game, kind of have like a little piece of paper or something to just kind of make a mental note for when I come out in this formation, a lot of good players are either going to be like in a defense that they think is good versus your formation. So you came out in bunch, they'll probably come out in their best bunch defense. You motion, you want to see if they actually have audibles, right? Do they even check it? Or you know that they're going to stay in their bunch defense, whatever it is. So that's all happening kind of like, in these first 15. All that really here, we're just going to run. And you know what? This was third down. I apologize, but that's still needed to know. This is not first. This is one, wouldn't be a first 15 play. This is a third down play, but you still want to know how they're going to react to this stuff, right? As you can see, it's kind of a quarters coverage. Maybe it's a cover 6 at the bottom, really. Quarters up top, but this is covered. This is definitely the middle of the field. Nice little bender route in front of the safety. Good throw there. First down. So that wasn't a third down call. I mean, that wasn't a first and second down call. So let me just say that too, because I don't want to confuse people. The first 15 plays is also first and second down manageable situations. If it gets to like second and long, second and 10 plus, because you got hit for a loss on first down, you're probably going to find that play somewhere else. You're going to go into your call sheet and have a specific group of plays for that situation to get yourself back into third and manageable, or trying to get all the yardage back on the second down. Personally, second and 10 is my third down plays. That's just how I think sometimes, but some coordinators are different. So we're going to be looking at downs that are normal downs that are probably part of that first 15. So sorry, didn't say that in the beginning, but all right. So they come out and pretty much a wing set formation, right? Again, we know that they use sometimes a fullback, but this is a wing set. This is a slot formation, one back, right? So single back, wing slot in our game. They love to run this kind of motion across the field, like so he can kick out. Fullback can kick out for plays. That happens a lot in this offense. And what you're going to get here, though, is run the play, you're going to get a boot off of this kind of predictable thing that I'm sure Seattle was getting ready for all offseason. All right. So we get now first down boot. This to me could have been really the first play of the game that they probably would have wanted to do. Or maybe they couldn't because they were backed up. So boot is great, right? Most people know that boot usually has a down flat, right? A crossing route and usually some sort of post control, right? If there's a receiver out there, there's a comeback. But the thing that Kyle does a good job of is running boots that are kind of non-traditional, in my opinion. So this guy here is the flat route. Then we have the crosser here, okay? And there's probably some sort of deep route here. So they're going to start outside zone. Also, they have a tendency to like to run outside zone, not necessarily the 71, but to the open side. Okay, so that's what you get here, meaning that away from the tight end. This year, they're about 50-50 open side, close side runs, but you get a nice little fake. You're going to get guys there. Defense does a good job of actually, the contained guy stays outside, makes Purdy have to make this tough throw. But overall, you just kind of get an idea of what we're looking for. It's just scheme-wise. First down, basically slot boot, okay? They come back again. Now, this slot is a little bit different because of the alignment here. But we can get the fast motion, see how they adjust. We get a play action play. All right. Simple play action play here, in my opinion, more of just in the category of what I would just say dagger, even though this is really just like an individual deep route. So this is kind of a deeper route than usual, but our number 2 kind of runs this 12-yard, 15-yard dig. We get kind of like a little wiggle and go. Pretty sure we get a corner out here. But this is off of just regular draw action, play action here. And it wasn't anything, it wasn't like a boot play. It wasn't run action. It's more of just protection, show the, little flash fake, like it's a draw play or something, or a dive, and then try to basically get linebacker to suck up, throw it over the top. And if you see here, this safety is absolutely squatting. He is not moving at all. So we got quarters. So this throw is dead. So the running back here was a check down. I think it's Robinson here who doesn't catch the ball. He kind of runs it too deep. This is where Christian McCaffrey is probably one of the best players in their offense, because even though that play is dead, Christian would usually always catch that ball, turn it into like maybe a first down. So you can see the difference there. But again, we got play action. We just have basically like a dig kind of play action on first down. Okay. So you guys see the little bit thing here. So Kyle is a little bit like this. And as we go along, I want to see how much he's still doing this. He will get into a formation and just go through his like checklist of plays, kind of pretty much setting you up for certain things. But here we're going to get the classic toss, right? We get the guy coming across like he's going to block out. But this play actually cuts back up inside because I do believe, I don't have the end zone shot right now. I do believe this is inside zone blocking. I have some tendencies that I'll talk about later on with the receivers, and but it doesn't really matter. We're just trying to get some good plays on film here. That play actually would have popped if the three technique would have been blocked by the guard. He was not. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is third down. Just let the play run. It kind of just sort of, hold on 1 second here. Where's it sticks? Yeah, this is third down. So we can let the play just go. Give you guys some tape. 2x2 to bunch. Not the greatest combination there. I'm not sure what they were thinking there, but there is a roughing the passer penalty, so we get to continue. All right, so now we're going to get here 11 personnel. Actually, no, this is 12 personnel. So classic thing that Kyle's done for years is come out, put like a big guy outside, and then motion him back in, right? A lot of people do that. Get your man zone tell indicators. I think that is 89. Yeah. So they basically started in our game. This would be just single back, wing close, right? They motion the receiver over to the opposite side. So we're back into that slot family, but he's real tight. So again, that wing set, tight receivers, comes back over. Not sure if this was done on purpose, but this is going back to wing close with the Z close, and we get duo. Okay, so we're just running downhill football. Duo is probably everybody's third run in the NFL. Some teams run it more, but it's Kyle's probably third favorite run. He does run more counter than I actually anticipated, but that's probably his third run after heavy, outside zone, inside zone would be next probably, and then you would get duo or some sort of pin and pull play. Now, just again, you've seen the play calls, right? So now we got duo downhill, give the ball, get some yards, get yourself in second down, but you did it from a tight formation. You saw a different look. Now we're back in this gun kind of you off, a gun deuce close type of look. We're going to get fake across the ball. We're going to get kind of play action crosser, right? Double dig crosser. This was kind of a dangerous throw here. Not sure what the coverage became. Looks like the safety back here, if you're looking at this guy over here on the left of screen, bottom, he's seeing the ball's going that way. He's just trying to alert people. He actually probably shouldn't have himself moved over, but we are basically taking advantage of the crosser of the linebackers. It looks like the way they kind of matched this up. It looks like man-to-man coverage. I'm not gonna lie, because that is a safety, I think, or a nickel that ended up taking the tight end. But again, we get play action now. Just remember that we are kind of in the red zone that last play as well. So these would be different plays that maybe are not in your first 15. If things are going well and you just want to keep running your offense, just keep on going. But you probably want to have some red zone plays now that you can start kind of like picking at, maybe especially in the passing game, that you think you can get a nice little easy touchdown explosive. So what I'm going to do here is kind of just watch this with you. I'm not going to necessarily call this a first 15 play, but it could be. Penalty. Again, high red zone type of play here potentially. So we go from 3x0 to 2x2. We get a run play. Looks like this is some sort of trap play. Some people I think people have called this punch, if I'm not mistaken, or different things, but it's kind of like a double trap action in this one. This is third down. This is second down and long, okay? But this is still red zone, but I just want to show you the concept. This is really almost very similar to what we had on the very first play, where they came out and they motioned the 3x1. Here you're going to get Kittle kind of running this route. We get kind of a double move. I'm not sure if he's running a post or if he's trying to get open, but it's kind of that same levels type of concept that we had in the first play. Over here, we're definitely trying to they kind of chop their feet, which is interesting. And then they kind of run like a little bang post in there to see if it opens up. And I'm pretty sure that he's probably checking this way. We'll see here. Again, this could be red zone, but it kind of fits the same category of this kind of, yeah, he did, what's his name, did run out. He actually probably did that on purpose. I think he ran a choice out. Let me see. Yeah, that's the choice out route. Okay. You guys don't know what that is. Big part of their offense. Christian's going to come here. All right. Choice out, halfback choice out. I call it just CO, right? So basically, he's going to run up. He's going to run out, not a flat route, but he's going to kind of stem up his defender. Or if there's nobody there, he's just going to come up in a straight line. And usually the option route would be you could run inside, you can sit down versus zone if it was man, right? Or you can come out. But deal here is that we're going to get most of the time, it's going to always be this, and he's working out. A lot of times it works off of the route that's here, which is usually a corner. I know this one's a bang, but in our game, we call it the choice out. Okay. Not in our game. In our Niners playbooks that we've looked at, we call it a choice out. Sorry. We don't necessarily have this in our game where it's always just going to be out all the time. So we'll have to talk about that later. But we do have the option route in Madden that he will have the option to go out, but we'll talk about that later. But that's a big part of the Niners passing game is getting that kind of that 5 yard out that comes off of the kind of straight up stem option stem. Okay. So this one here is going to be the touchdown play. I'm just going to go through it. Nope, it's not it. I don't think. Oh, this could be it. I'm not sure. I think it is it. Yep. So Kittle kind of runs the same route that we just talked about. If you watch him here, he's going to take this route, right? Like that. Pretty sure he ran this, but just watch the release. He's not going to just run right to the flat. He's going to kind of stem up a little bit, kind of work behind the receiver there and just run out to the flat. Now, the Niners are not known for having quarterbacks with great arms, right? Even, Mac has a stronger arm. Mac Jones has a stronger arm than Purdy, but they are actually throwing outbreaking routes more than I've seen in a long time. So when I was looking at where the ball is going, information, a lot of it's going outside. It's about 50-50 outside, inside, which it used to be 90% inside, right? I mean, that used to be where they cooked all the time. Now it's kind of an even split, but those are the type of routes that they're throwing. Timing routes on the outside, breaking routes. Not necessarily much more than that. Okay, so we're going to get some interesting little plays here. This play here, if you look at it, it's kind of a fake jet. And then he gave it to the running back. He fumbled it in his hands, got it back. So this kind of little bit of, and I'm not sure what was happening at the bottom down here. They're just pretending to block. But that's kind of, you get 4 yards. So we're still on track, okay? But you can see a little bit of a trick play in there. So we're still on track. This is still part of the first 15. We get 21 personnel. We motion McCaffrey out, kind of like a pseudo bunch, but bring him back. And now he's supposed to run a fake jet, right? But then we get the little shovel pass underneath. Again, a way to get the ball to your players. You can see this is just like a design play that, hey, this is what's going to work. Didn't work out well for them. We get into third down here. Yeah, we're not counting third down. We're not looking at the route so much. I'm just going to let that one skip again. In my personal opinion, third down plays, I'm not 100% sure where we're at right now. Hopefully it's gotten better throughout the year. We've thrown the ball so much that, we've had more concepts to run, but I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, next series. So what we get here, I think from this point on is going to be just like, we're only going to be able to look at maybe first down because there's going to be some plays that he hit for a loss. So I'm not going to count the second down play as an actual play that would be good for us to look at. Okay, so we get the little fast motion. Again, this is 11 personnel, if I'm not mistaken. Can't really tell. Yeah, this is 11 personnel. Tight end, but this is a receiver that's standing in the slot. Kittle comes across, does that motion kind of kick out. And that play looked like it was inside zone, if I'm looking at it correctly. He actually handed the ball to the other side. Hold on. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a wind back play. counter footwork, but the blocking was going to the left. Not quite sure. They get a little bit of yards. We get 11 personnel here again. Now we get our pin and pull toss play. I do like the motion with this because this basically gets at least one, maybe two DB's eyes out. You can see how the defense actually just bumps this out over here. So you get a little bit of a plan. Hey, this is how they handle this motion. This could have been a bigger run, but there was a penalty, so it gets knocked back. So it's going to be second and long. So again, this is the type of play I'm not necessarily going to count as a play that counts for. Actually, it did say first. This is first and long. I don't know how I'm off here, but again, this is kind of. Let me go back. Hold on. I don't know what happened here. Okay, it does say first and 10. So I don't know what that penalty didn't really hit him too bad. So this could be still in our first 15. I'm not quite sure what this was supposed to be. Obviously, there should have been an abort here with the running back and just block this. I'm assuming the safety. I think McCaffrey tries to, just couldn't get there. So we get the sack. I'm not sure what the route was, so I'm going to let that one go. So now this is second and very long. This is the one that I don't think we should probably let's take a look at. They run a draw, try to get some yards back. This should be third and long. Again, handoff, inside zone, split inside zone. Just trying to get themselves out of a bad situation, okay? All right, let's look at one more series, see what we get here. 21 personnel, we got fullback going out, becomes a 3-by-1 set. Now this is in the Niners playbook in some plays where you can take this guy will motion out and stay back here instead of the old school motioning up towards the line. I've heard that the reason why this has been done is to basically defenses are not treating this like it's trips. They're going to treat it like it's just a running back going to the flat early. So they're not going to check their calls. And so if you want your defense to stay that way in the NFL, that's probably what you want the defense to stay in their original call. Good. But then now you have some nice separation that if you do throw the ball out there, now he has to get back to the line of scrimmage. That stinks, but there's more separation here between him and the defensive guy. And if that's a good player, he maybe can make a miss. All right. First down, angle screen. All right. So got to get the ball to you. I would always run a screen, especially I know most West Coast teams or wide zone teams that do this. But this is a good job. He works out, and I've seen people do this a lot. You get to catch that screen on the run. And somebody like Christian, give him a chance to catch the ball in space and make a couple people miss. Got all those yards. Easy. I'll say this too, give you guys a little tip from what I've seen from Shanahan, and I'm going to watch it tonight when they play the Falcons. First play of a series, we call P and 10. P, just put a letter in there instead of saying first. First play of the series, right? So a new series, right after a kickoff, right after a punt return. Cool. They get the ball to Christian pretty much in some sort of way, run play or pass play, like we just saw a screen, play action, check down. The quarterbacks give the ball to him so quickly. They won't even let the play develop. It's just like, hey, let's get the ball to Christian in all these different ways to start a drive, get it going. Huge tendency that I've seen watching the P and 10s, and that was an example of it right there. Okay, so we go from 3-by-1 to 2-by-2. That motion's out again. Okay, so there goes the option route. I think this one I'm not 100% sure if it's the true option route. You guys can tell me what you think. But watch Christian bounce out, go straight up the field. This looks like an actual, like, again, because he's already wide, he doesn't need to, like, angle out. He doesn't need to do, he was in the backfield, he would run out like this and then go straight up. But also he's working off of some other routes here that are working. I think he's definitely working a true option route. But the quarterback throws his ball so late. Kind of interesting. I don't know if he's waiting for him to get into his route or whatever, but this is a late throw to the outside, which could be dangerous, but first and 10, 7-yard gain. Okay, now, I'm not sure where we are, too, from a time standpoint. I think I don't have the clock in front of me. Could be almost like towards the end of the second quarter. So there might be some tempo, because usually when the camera breaks like that, like look at this, See how the camera's rushing to get down? Usually that means they were going fast, like no huddle. All right, you got 21 personnel, tight end moves over, get the tray, we get the fullback going to strong, and then we get the toss, but we're getting counter. So again, we're trying to draw the defense with that toss play and then run the counter action off of it. The defense does a good job sitting that safety, good timing, or that nickel pressure. And then also we don't get the center, does not block back on the 3 technique very well. Watch this. It misses them, and the 3 techniques in the backfield. So, and then now we are in 3rd down, so we're not going to really worry about this too much. This is a sight adjust. So anytime you get, sometimes when the corner is coming off the edge like this on a cat blitz, that's what people will call it. That's a really bad job of me writing the word cat, but you know what I mean. He would try to call it out, and he would just stop right here, right, and just look for the ball. Quarterback usually doesn't have any protection for this, so he just throws him the rock real quick. Christian does see it, try to come back late, but he's not looking for it early. He's looking at the double mug. Christian Catherine. But we get the ball out of our hands, got to make somebody miss. He does. 1st down. Well, to just talk about that. Again, it looks like there's tempo going here. So I'm not going to count these plays for the first 15. It looks like they were trying to like go with some tempo. So these are like, I don't know. I don't want to say that they're 2-minute plays or 4-minute play, probably 2-minute plays, but they're going with tempo. So I'm not sure. Classic route combination, right? Again, doing it from the gun, which is a little bit more. Niners are a little bit more gun this year than they've been in the past, but it's cool. Fake that. Got our classic deep dig. Pretty sure we got the post. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if he actually went in like this and came back out and leaked out, but somebody leaking back, the leak play kind of theory off of this play action. Let me try to run it for you guys. Yeah, it was interesting route there, real quick. Interesting route there by 44. Blocks to the same side and then kind of runs into the opening in the defense. Love that. It's pretty good. Looks like they're playing cover 6-ish, kind of sort of. Let me see what the nickel is. Actually, nickel's at the top. So I'm not sure what they're playing. It looks like they're playing some form of 2 down there. At the top, I'm sorry. At the bottom, it looks like we're playing some sort of quarters coverage. So it's a very sneaky play. You know, technically, when the ball is snapped, there's so much stuff going on. I don't really want to make this to a defensive film, but this guy becomes like number 3. I would think the middle linebacker might be the only guy to pick that, but I do believe there was somebody else coming. So the flat defender is looking at this guy in the flat, so I wouldn't say it's his fault. Yeah, that would be the Mike. He's just looking in the backfield. He needs to pick up this guy if they're playing match coverage. Well designed play. So let's just end it there, and let me just bring back over my sheet here. So again, I am going to go through more games. I'm going to look at like 3 games, 4 games, and then kind of come up with 15 plays that Kyle likes, that he may have some tendencies on, and or just even things that I like, right? What do I want to run? You know, do I want to run outside zone twice in my first 15 plays? I definitely want like a boot play, right? And then I want my favorite drop back pass, whatever it might be, like if I like levels or if I like this 2x2 concept. Whoops. Over here. So once you get that, you're good. And then I'll talk more about the second 15 plays. Second 15 plays to me would be what you want to have like adjustments in the second half. A lot of those things to me would just kind of counter whatever you did in the first half. So to give yourself like the next step, right? Of, hey, we ran counter, so now we're going to run split inside zone or the opposite, right? If things are going well, you just kind of go along with it. Or if you need to go back to a play because it worked really well, you just kind of go back to the same play you had earlier. But you can game plan the second half of your games a little bit better because you kind of have a set way that you played in the first half, and then you can kind of go pick maybe the formations that you know what they're doing, right? Oh, they're playing every time I call bunch, they're playing cover nine. Okay, let me try this now. I have a cover nine beater. So when you go through your game call sheet here, right, you should have some beaters already listed in your game plan that you can just kind of go to. You can see all the things here that I don't have filled out, but overall, this is kind of like, I think, the most important way, the first 15, to make you feel comfortable. So when you play, you're not sitting out here just guessing. And I have some more tips on this stuff. I have some more next level thoughts on this stuff that I've talked to some people about over the years. But I think ever since I started doing this, my offense became more consistent, especially me being a primarily defensive thinker. This made me more dangerous, and it allowed me to score more points in the first half than I've had in a while. So I want to give this video to you guys. Hope you like it. Look forward to jumping into the Kyle Shanahan offense, going to some of these plays. I'll do some videos like I've done in the past, talking about a concept, when to run it, how to run it in Madden, and then we can look at it in real life examples, have some fun with that. But I just wanted to start kind of different this year and talk about this. Don't forget about the Cohen stuff. I'm going to go and break down Cohen's offense as well, get a feel for what he's doing that's different. And then I'm thinking about doing a third one at some point here. Kind of curious with Kevin O'Connell. Always curious about McVay. If you guys have any other ones that you want me to take a look at. But of course, we're going to be, me being a Niners fan, we're going to start here this year and just kind of go from there. All right, guys? If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, just hit me up. Talk to you later.